This is an important video for anyone who's currently using or is looking to use the PPSH-41 SMG inside Warzone. This gun has had a couple of different changes recently, and in this video we're going to break down every single attachment with the stats to show you what exactly is the best class setup. So if that sounds interesting, and if you enjoy weapon stat breakdowns, weapon comparisons and overall tips and tricks, don't forget to subscribe to this channel as we try to reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers. And also, we've just hit 100 subscribers on our second channel, so we appreciate your support for that. But now let's achieve 1,000 subscribers on that channel too. But now let's break down the PPSH-41. Now, if you want to skip to certain individual attachments, we'll leave timestamps in the description or just along the timeline of this video as well. And the first set of attachments we want to go through is the muzzle attachments. So the main ones we kind of focused on here were just the suppressors, because those are going to be the two most important attachments, the sound suppressor or the GRU suppressor. Now, it's pretty much a no-brainer that most people just go ahead and choose the GRU or the agency suppressor for most weapons and don't really think about the cons it actually gives you. So the one thing we did test was the ADS times on the GRU suppressor as well as the sound suppressor. But I do want to quickly mention that this does not affect bullet velocity on the PPSH, it only affects effective damage range, so it's not that big of a con compared to maybe what you'd see on an assault rifle, for example. But what you'll see on screen just now is the stats for both the sound suppressor and the GRU suppressor, as well as the base stats. And the base ADS time for the PPSH is 167 milliseconds. And that doesn't change if you equip the sound suppressor. We did test this once again. And then the bullet velocity again doesn't change with the sound suppressor, but it does change with the GRU suppressor. So if you equip the GRU suppressor, you do hurt your ADS time by about 20 milliseconds, just below 20 milliseconds. And then the bullet velocity is increased by about 100 milliseconds. But there is pros and cons to using this GRU suppressor, as you can see. Now, the main reason I say that when it comes to ADS time on an SMG, I do think ADS is way more important on SMGs than it is on assault rifles. I would definitely 100% choose a GRU or agency suppressor on any Cold War assault rifle. But when it comes to SMGs and close quarters engagements, you do need every single second, and it does count. So like I said, I think it's important you do think about which suppressor you choose here. The next set of attachments we tested was the barrel attachment, and the main thing we tested this for was for bullet velocity. Now, some barrels do give you damage range bonuses, but to be honest, for Warzone, the most important thing is actually bullet velocity, so that's what we mainly tested here. So on screen just now, you'll see the actual values for this. So the base bullet velocity for the PPSH is 357 meters per second, which is really slow. It's actually slower than a lot of the SMGs in the game and some of the pistols in the game, which is insane. But again, this is a slow bullet velocity, but it doesn't really matter all that much because the engagements that you're going to be using this gun at are going to be mainly close range. But as you can see, if you use the extended barrel, it boosts it up to 516 meters per second. If you use the reinforced heavy, you get 547 meters per second. If you use the Ranger as well as the Task Force barrel, both give you 581 meters per second bullet velocity. So the Ranger and the Task Force barrel give you the best bullet velocity, and obviously if you stack on that GRU suppressor on top of there, you'll get an even better bullet velocity value. But like I said, this is not all that important when it comes to SMGs, unless you really want to use these guns as sniper support, and that is when I do think you have to change your class setup to kind of suit that. The next attachments we tested was the ammunition attachments. Now, we only tested two of these. We tested the 55 round drum and the 71 round drum. Now, it only makes sense to test these two because even if you look at the VDV 50 round fast mags, even if it does reload quicker, it's going to have a bigger penalty to ADS time than the 55 round drum automatically, and it has 5 less bullets in a magazine, so you'd rather have the 55 round drum over that VDV mag. And then obviously there is a benefit in taking the 71 round drum because you get almost 20 more bullets. So on screen just now, you'll see the stats for both of those mags as well as the base weapon. You'll see the ADS times as well as the reload times. Now, the most important thing to keep an eye on here, I think, is the ADS times, because like I said, ADS on an SMG is super important. So as you can see here, the base ADS on the PPSH is 167 milliseconds. The reload time for the base weapon is 1.75 seconds. And then if you do add on that 55 round drum, your ADS time stays intact as it states in game, so it doesn't give you a con to ADS time, which is true. And then the reload time does get hurt by about 10 milliseconds, which is not a huge amount on the grand scheme of things. Now, when it comes to the 71 round drum, quads and trios, it's almost a must to have the biggest magazine attachment you can possibly have on your weapons, and that goes for assault rifles and SMGs, because you do need to take on multiple enemies at a time, and you don't really want to get caught out reloading either. Now, the reload times difference between the 55 round mag is not much that you could even count, to be honest. There's about a couple of frames difference, if that. When it comes to ADS time though, it's a 20 millisecond difference, and when you're stacking on multiple attachments, you can notice this, so this is a trade-off you really need to think about. Now, the rear grip attachments just overall was something I found really weird, because I felt like everyone was saying use the speed grip because it doesn't give you any cons, but then I was trying out the serpent wrap and it does give you a faster ADS time than the speed grip. So I wanted to run the testing for myself just to make sure that this was correct, and it turns out I was right. So if you do look at the stats of each one of these grips, we tested all of them for ADS time, and we've got the speed grip that comes out at the exact same as the base ADS time for the PPSH, so it doesn't actually help with ADS time from what we were able to test at 60 FPS. Now, if you do use the drop shot wrap, that helps by about 17 milliseconds, so it's a good bonus to use the drop shot wrap, and you also get a pro to flinch resistance as well. The Spetsnaz field grip does give you a pro to flinch resistance as well, but it does hurt your sprint to fire time, so it doesn't really help all that much more than the drop shot wrap when it comes to ADS time, so I would ignore this attachment. Then when it comes to the Serpent and the GRU elastic wrap, both of these help the best when it comes to ADS time at 133 milliseconds. But when you look at the kind of pros and cons, the GRU elastic wrap has the worst cons, and the serpent wrap only hurts your sprint to fire time. So personally, I think the only option is the serpent wrap, because it helps the best when it comes to ADS time with the least amount of cons. Because if you're wanting a faster ADS time, you just want it to be as fast as possible. You don't want to really go halfway on it. It's not really going to help you all that much. Then the other set of attachments we tested was the underbarrel attachments. Now, we tested almost every single one of these. We mainly tested the recoil controlling ones as well as the bruiser grip. Now, the bruiser grip doesn't give you any cons, but it does give you a bonus to movement speed and hip fire accuracy, and we did test both of these things. What you'll see is a recoil chart for the foregrip, the Spetsnaz grip, the Spetsnaz speed grip, as well as the bruiser grip with hip fire. So we'll get onto the bruiser grip in just a moment. But if you're looking at recoil and how the recoil controlling attachments help, you've got the base recoil chart on the very left. We've then got the foregrip, the Spetsnaz grip, and the Spetsnaz speed grip. And in my opinion, the best two attachments here are the foregrip and the Spetsnaz grip. Both of these help the best when it comes to side-to-side recoil on the PPSH. And I think that's the worst thing about this gun, is the side-to-side recoil. The vertical recoil is very easy to manage on this gun, so then looking at the hipfire chart off to the right of the screen, we've got the bruiser grip as well as the base weapon, and we're taking a look at hipfire accuracy at a 5 meter distance. And in my opinion, the bruiser grip isn't really helping all that much when it comes to hipfire accuracy. It doesn't really look like it's doing much at all, so I would not really use this attachment. So overall, like I said, when it comes to foregrip attachments so far, the only two I can really recommend to you is the Spetsnaz grip for overall the best recoil controlling attachment. And then the foregrip, if you don't want any cons and all you care about is controlling that side-to-side recoil, this could be a good option as well. So now we've tested pretty much every single attachment when it comes to this gun, but there was one thing that was missing, and that is the movement attachments, because they did nerf all of the stock attachments when it comes to strafe speed, and that's something I really liked about this gun before they nerfed it. That was the movement as well as the strafe speed was insane on this gun, and is one of the main reasons why I really liked using it. So I wanted to find out if it was still really good at strafing. So the attachments we tested for this was the Task Force barrel, because it does state it helps with strafe speed, so we tested that. Then we tested the PKM stock, which is usually the best attachment for helping with strafe speed, and also the Raider stock, we tested that too. We also actually tested some of the lasers as well, because the mounted flashlight and the Tiger Team spotlight also state they help with aim walking movement speed, as well as overall movement speed. So we tested this as well. Now I also wanted to test the bruiser grip as well, and that is because both of the flashlights do state they help with movement speed, and I just wanted to make sure that movement speed pro didn't actually help with strafing speeds. I do want to mention that I was testing the strafing speed whilst you were firing. So whilst you were shooting the gun, I was testing the strafe speed at 10 meters. So on screen just now, you'll see the values for every single one of these guns. And what you'll see at the very bottom is the base weapon, and that is 2.78 meters per second. And obviously that's our baseline standard. Then above that, we have a task force barrel, and that gives you a 14% increase in terms of strafing speeds whilst you're firing. So it does help when it comes to shooting and firing and strafing out the way. Then you've got the bruiser grip, and this is 2.70 meters per second, and it doesn't actually help with strafing speed. So movement speed does not help with strafing speed when it comes to the pros and cons inside the game. Then we've got the mounted flashlight and the Tiger Team spotlight, and again I think there's a little bit of rounding there. I do think both of them are exactly the same when it comes to giving you a bonus to your strafe speed, and that bonus is around about 10%. So you do get a bonus when it comes to aim walking movement speed to your aiming and shooting movement speed. So they actually work the same more or less, which is kind of weird that they don't just state that inside the game. Then when it comes to the PKM stock and the Raider stock, again, those worked out pretty much exactly the same as well. When it comes to strafing, you get an 18% bonus. Now, the cool thing is you can stack a lot of these attachments together now. So if you do know the PKM stock gives you an 18% movement speed bonus, you can also add on the Tiger Team spotlight and the task force barrel. And if you're firing and shooting at the same time, you're going to be strafing around really quickly, which is pretty cool. But sometimes it's not really viable to do that when it comes to class setup builds because you've only got 5 attachments. So that is what we're going to get on into now. So when it comes to attachments now, there's 2 builds for the PPSH I'd like to share with you. The first is an SMG build. The second is a sniper support build, and it's really going to depend on how you want to use this weapon. One thing I do want to mention quickly actually is the aim assist on this gun just feels really sticky, so it's so easy to land shots with this gun, and it's one of the reasons I like it so much. But when it comes to the muzzle attachment, if you're using this as an SMG, I would use the sound suppressor. It doesn't give you any cons to bullet velocity, it doesn't help your bullet velocity, but it does give you that sound suppression and the muzzle flash concealment. Now, it does give you a hit to your effective damage range, but you should only be using this in close quarters, and it doesn't hurt your ADS times. Now, then for the ammunition attachment, you could go for the 71 round drum, but personally, I would go with a 55 round drum because it again doesn't hurt your ADS time like I said before. Then for the laser, Tiger Team spotlight, this does help, but you can also go for the mounted flashlight as well. Then you do want to go for that PKM stock. This is going to help you so much more with that strafing speed, and combined with the Tiger Team spotlight, you will get insane strafe speeds. Then lastly, I would go for the Serpent Wrap. Now, I know it does hurt your sprint to fire time, but it does give you a super quick aim down sight time, and it allows you to aim down sight way quicker than your enemies. And like I said, you're going to be using this gun at close range anyway, so you don't need to concern yourself too much with controlling recoil all that much. So like I said, this is the best SMG build in my opinion. Now we have the sniper support build for this gun. So you do want to use the GRU suppressor. This is going to give you the bullet velocity, the sound suppression, and the damage range bonuses. You do want to use that task force barrel. It doesn't increase the recoil all that much on this gun. This gun barely has much recoil to begin with, but you do get that huge bonus to strafe speed still. Then you do want to quickly put on that PKM stock as well. Again, you do want the bonus to strafe speed. It is a SMG, so you do want the SMG movement. I would definitely go for the 71 round drum in this case, because firing this gun at longer ranges is going to require more shots to kill, and you do want those extra bullets in your magazine. And then lastly, you can choose to put the Serpent Wrap on here to help with ADS times, but personally I would go with the foregrip right now, and that is just so it can help you with that task force barrel, and that is the way I would build this gun as sniper support. So there we have it. There is the best class setup for the PPSH-41. Let me know what you think about these builds down in the comments below, and if you're going to try them out. Also, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we're trying to reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers, and click that link in the description and subscribe to our second channel, and thank you very much for watching.